Oh, hello there. Welcome to Metrosix. It's the capital of Delaire. But more importantly for our story, it's a dangerous place. For 14 years, the city has dealt with a succession crisis, each one of the throne sitters dying within the month. However, rising from the poor forgotten 6th District, an heir to a fallen house and his trusted allies endeavor to break the noble's misbegotten deadlock. While it could be dangerous to step into the conflict, success here wouldn't just mean safety and stability for the stakes. But for the whole of Delaire.
Welcome back to Toss the Dice, Thieves and Kings. When we last left off, we were wrapping up last season, so let's go over a few things. So first of all, we've started a new season. If you haven't checked out the prequel to Toss the Dice, Thieves and Kings, it's really good, I promise. However, there is some bumpy audio for the first couple of episodes. We've since worked on a lot of those issues, so hopefully that doesn't happen at all in this season. But in addition, there's been a few other things that have happened. Namely, we've switched from D&D to Blades in the Dark. A quick explanation of why we did this is because we just thought that Blades in the Dark would suit this season's content really, really well. And what kind of pushed us over the edge for making that decision is this whole mess with Wizards of the Coast's OGL. It's since been more or less resolved, but that said, it was a perfect little excuse to transition like we had been thinking about the whole time. So I should probably put a bunch of references in the description that you can access so that you have an idea of Blades in the Dark and how it works. That way we don't have to stop and have a tutorial every time an action is taken in this session. With that said, let's delve right into what's going on. So we have moved forward 3 months, during which time our party has taken control of the Styx, the largest but also the poorest of the 6 districts within the city. And a few things that we've already established are that the Red Gears have been quelled. All of their little uprisings and gang issues have mostly been put to rest. They no longer control a portion of the Styx. You may have a few little groups that still cling to Red Gear ways, but they've mostly been handled. Secondly, the heavy brass has been legitimized and is being organized in new ways after their leader decided to stab the party in the back. But in doing so, was outed and undermined completely his own authority and ideals. That said, you did still have to get rid of a lot of the radicalists within the heavy brass. Many assassination attempts on Aurelius, but it was mostly handled over the last 3 months. But now we have to cover a few more things because everybody has taken charge of various fields within the city, and so I'll go over that real quick, and then I'll ask what changes you've made in your various fields. So, firstly, Aurelius has taken up the district's throne, the seat of the High Lord, and so Castle Aquile will well, it's still a bit in ruins, but the throne is now his, which means he'll be in charge of a lot of things around the district. And then we have Elektra, who is over the City Watch. We have Haven, who is over the factory and the general production of district goods. And then we have Piper, who is over trade and transportation. A fitting role, as she was herself a smuggler before before this all turned out like this. Real quick, for those of us who are joining for this season and skipped the first season, let's do introductions. So, as I've just listed, we have Aurelius, played by.
Hi, my name's Aaron. Thanks for clicking on the video.
Heck yeah, thank you. And then we have my wife, playing Elektra.
Hello, I'm Alyssa. I am his wife. This is correct.
And then we have our other good friends playing Piper. Forgot your character's name a second.
Hi, I'm Elise. What's good?
And then playing Haven.
My name is Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul. Got a blast.
Thank you to my friends for joining me for this podcast. They're absolutely amazing. As well, as Aaron said, thanks for clicking on the video, watching it. This channel does a bunch of stuff, so feel free to click on any of the content we have here. Fiction plays, the writer's room. Hopefully you enjoy all of it, and that you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing. But for now, let's dig right in to what's happening. So, for starters, because I had the benefit of living with my wife, I have heard some of her ideas. So let's start there. Elektra, being over the heavy brass, was a group of a gang, really, within the Six that was very anti-noble, but they were attempting to reinstate a government. So, having struck a deal, a balancing act between a high council and the nobility is the proposed plan that has gotten many of them on board.
I'm going to split the force and gather 5,000 of the troops that I trust the most to be retrained and act as city watch for the Sticks. And then the remaining are going to act as a standing militia, which I assume will be used for public works by whoever needs them, but I will leave that unallocated, just that they are, aside from the fact that they are basically up for grabs. Once I've whittled out any other people that I don't think are suited for the city watch and have done retraining stuff, I'm going to open up application.
Oh,
no, to the militia specifically. Open up applications to the militia so anybody else can join. And if they come across people they think are suited to the city watch, they can be funneled that way.
Recruit.
That's it. Yeah.
Haven is in charge of the factory, and that's gonna have a big function in your new government. So what are some of the things that you are doing / creating jobs with?
I'm going to create an extraction industry. So one for like mining as well as reusing some resources from the junkyard that's been there since that's been piling up. So almost like a type of refinery, but also like gathering industry over there. And
I will say, I don't know if I actually informed any of this, and you would know now. Your characters probably wouldn't have known before, but the 6th District actually does have access to an adamantine mine. It's not nearly as big as District 2's, but they do have access to one.
Okay.
It would be the Aquile House personal mine.
Well then, with hopefully Aurelius's consent, use some of those mines for the good of the people and create some jobs there. And I would actually like to give one of the manufacturers from the factory that previously worked for Reynald, whom I trust, the job, the charge to lead that specific industry.
Okay.
And then I'll hold a good fair amount of the shares in that industry.
Okay.
I'll also create a manufacturing industry, especially for like transportation and steel making or like material making per se, and just whatever our needs are at the current time. So just a manufacturing industry that I will be head over. And then I'll also delegate some of the roles to the Adamantine sorcerers so that they can be in charge of different sections of the work. So
Awesome. Aaron, I want to hear your ideas. I'm very curious.
I'm going to take the Thieves Guild, and I'm going to repurpose them into a two-prong agency. One that is about intelligence, and the other is still going to be thieves. But I would want to restrict those thieves to taking jobs that have to do with other districts in order to see what's going on in the world. They are going to still deliver, but I get all that intelligence as well.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask in regards to this. If another noble hires the thieves to take something from Aurelius, how do the thieves handle that, right? Because if they turn down the jobs, it's not going to be long before they realize that these spies are only not working for you in name.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and I'd like to cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay.
I think
Sounds
the
good.
idea, I think the idea would probably be that we still supply them with something that will definitely do. But if it's like, say, top secret, maybe we're giving them, say, messed with blueprints, or like we're going to come to that decision with us knowing what they want. And
So maybe
like,
it just looks like that we're just one step ahead versus the thieves are in.
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they'll let me know if that's the case. More importantly, though, as far as public works, what we are doing is I have now instituted a legal system. People are going to be able to plead their cases in front of a judge and get tried fairly.
Okay.
So we're establishing a legal system. We are also going to be taking that construction crew that we've been using helping bring down parts of the sticks that are undesirable. That's going to be turned into public sanitation. So essentially, if there's a part of the sticks that is not their job is to clean it up. If it's run down.
Now, is this the people who are like militiamen who are off duty, or not off duty, who are just like not on assignment, or is this like hiring people? Like,
this is hiring people who are in need of daily jobs, who might be in extreme circumstances. They can't work constantly, but need a job for today in order to, say, pay for their food for the day.
And actually, before you took control of the sticks, you were opening up a charity. Is that correct?
Yes. And the charity is going to actually go ahead, and that's going to be their big charitable work, is helping the homeless of the sticks.
Okay. Sounds good. And then, of course, the beating heart of all of this is the economic side of things. So in charge of that is Piper, as we established. You are a smuggler, and you actually acquired vehicles that were originally designed for combat, but you have re-outfitted several vehicles to be used as public transport already.
Mhm.
But as far as trade is concerned, what are some actions that you'll be taking for the city there?
So for the sticks, I think it's especially important to um get as much trade as possible, just because it's so poor and it needs all it can get. Make connections, make people known that we offer. Um, Obviously there's trade between districts, but we're kind of focusing more on getting trade from through sea. So like from other countries, but we would have to trade by boat through pirate territory, which Piper has a history with the Dread Pirates, which is the main pirate nation, and the Dread Pirate captain, who fortunately Piper has worked with personally before, and she knows that he has an honor system, and so they have their own taxes, and the imports and exports, everything will be taxed, but um, she has made deals with the pirates to ensure safe travels, that their exports will be untouched as they go to their chosen destinations for trade. And by making these deals, these trade deals with the pirates, it'll have an effect on the black market, whereas the pirates will get that benefit, but the black market and the pirates will they won't have as much of that tie, because we are making very forward ties with the pirates. And so the black market is the one part of the sticks that we do not have as much control over. And that is one of the ways that we can kind of weaken them without directly touching them. So
Perfect. So that should work out really well. And actually, for the context of the viewers, I'll add in as well. In this world, the pirate nation, they've actually been building a flotilla island off the coast of the nation of Relara. Hopefully, I should actually post a link to the map for you guys in the comments, or not in the comments, in the description. But yeah, it's a part of the political climate of this continent. So that would mean that if you actually do claim the throne, though, in Delera, you will be the first nation to recognize the pirate king and the pirate nation as a legitimate nation, not just a group of
ragtag sailors.
Yes, exactly. So with that established, I figured that there is some social encounters we'd probably have to resolve. So if there are any agreements that need to be made, let's go ahead and resolve those with a I guess, an encounter, or that's probably more D&D terminology. In Blades in the Dark, this would be considered the score. So let's go ahead and figure out what actions you want to be taking to improve your situations. Like, for example, one thing that we can tackle is Piper's meeting with the pirate lord over various agreements. Now, I realize that we won't all be actual experts in our field, so we can hand wave some of that. We don't have to get down to the actual percentages necessarily for various goods on imports, but let's go over like a rough agreement in a social encounter. But yeah, for
Would
everyone
I
else,
be present?
You absolutely
Or no?
can
This
be.
is
Yeah, I would say that the party should participate as long as it makes sense, and in this case, it does.
okay.
Remind me, what's the pirate lord's name, or what would Piper have called him back when they were
His name is Dorian.
Dorian. Would
Daddy Dorian.
no. Would she be familiar enough with him to call him by his first name, or would he expect her to call him captain or some other title?
That is actually a great question. He is a huge stickler, funny enough, for the formalities, especially because he's trying to get respect for his nation. So like that, like his title would probably be important to him. So that would be Lord Captain Bale.
That's Lord Captain Jack Sparrow for you.
Yes. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he'd like cut your hand off or something crazy. He's not. He's actually not as nuts as he has every right to be. You know, over a pirate nation. But but
He wants some shred of dignity. You know, he wants to not be seen as a ruffian. He wants to be, refined enough to be taken seriously.
Correct. Yeah. So exactly. So the way to address him would probably be Lord Captain Dorian or Lord Captain Bale.
Can't say the first name.
Yeah. So with that said, who all would like to participate in this diplomatic meeting?
I think I would.
That would make sense. It's many of the factory's products that would actually be traded.
I'm out. I'm good.
Okay.
I don't think there's a reason for her to be there.
Now, I will say that legally speaking, if Aurelius wants to be perceived as an upstanding citizen amongst the other nobles, then there are some restrictions on what you can do as far as trade concerning adamantium. But everything else, you're completely free.
So I actually said I'd like to be a part of this. I don't think I would be. I just want to make sure that, like, before Piper went, Aurelius would create some hard rules that she can't, like, to let her know where the edges bleed, right? Where it's like, okay, well, we can't trade that much adamantine, right? Like,
True. Now,
wouldn't it be easier to have Aurelius there in case the pirate captain's like, I don't know, like, because the problem is, if we want to make this deal, then I'd be like, oh, I'm not sure what he would say. I don't want to speak for him. It might be easier to have him there in case the pirate captain suggests something, or maybe he's not so fond of something, but Piper doesn't want to just assume something without Aurelius.
I'd argue, Elise, that you are in charge of trade, and I trust you completely.
that is a good point.
No pressure.
I was going to say, though, you could also do something else while you're there if you wanted, like establish an embassy.
That's fair.
So, yep. I'm just saying, you could actually accomplish your own mission while you're there. In any case, then heading down to the tavern, I guess. Well, it feels weird, district within a district, but it's like a tavern row, where many of the pirates gather together, and so heading down there, you're able to catch a ship that would take you to the pirate nation. This would actually have to be done several months in advance because travel itself would take several weeks back and forth. That said, you could potentially set up a meeting at a third location by using sending stones. Of course, they'd have to be imported from another nation, but that's something that you could definitely do now with your current resources.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, that can cut a lot of time. Yeah,
so I'm fine with that because personally, considering that how fresh everything is in the sticks, like this is all very new. Piper doesn't want to be away from the sticks too long because, there's not they're still establishing things and they haven't really solidly gotten everything figured out. And if something were to happen, Piper would want to be not weeks away.
Okay.
So
good deal. Then purchasing the magical means to communicate with the Lord Captain. He's able to meet you just off the coast. In fact, let me actually roll a first roll of the season. Heck yeah. This will be an engagement roll. It'll be a roll of fortune to determine how lucky you are in regards to the pirate captain's location, whether he's far away or close. So, that is a 6. Hot dice already. So as it turns out, the Lord Captain was not that far away. So in just a few days, he's able to travel just off the coast where you can meet him. In fact, he's so close, he might even be willing to just meet you at the docks if you're if that's what you want.
Is there any pro or con to meeting at the docks, or is it like a matter of security to be off the docks maybe, or
yeah, it might give him some security to not be meeting in your territory.
Yeah, the goal is to get him in a good mood, and making him uncomfortable in any way won't do that. So let's make it a little more comfortable for his lordship.
All right, then heading out to sea, where you meet him just off the coast. You you head out onto the water, and rising from the depths of the sea, cinematically, in the fashion of a pretty cool large franchise that has to do with pirates. The boat rises out of the water. It is a black ship. And you would remember this from your time on the ship, but the Lord Captain wears a big black hat with a just the most fantastic plume. But it's actually a magic item as well, and that magic item has a partial skull covering the top side of his face. and as the boat emerges from the water, this is again something Piper would be familiar with, but his ship comes next to yours before it lashes onto your ship, and they drop the boards that'll allow you to cross decks. And so, meeting at the rails and at the bridge, the Lord Captain steps up onto the plank, and with a deep bow, he takes off the hat and mask, and he gives you a bow and says, well, Piper, moving up in the world, are we?
Okay, what does he look like? Give us a description.
Oh yeah, I forgot. This is the first time, not just for our viewers, but as a party, you've ever seen the face of the Lord Captain. So, yeah, as he takes off his hat and mask, he's got a surprisingly boyish face. He has shaggy black hair. He has a scar that on his jaw on the left side. It's a fairly clean scar though. It just is. It has like a line that goes right down. Probably made by a sword or something that had a nice sharp edge. I guess that's not too important though.
I mean, unless it references a past campaign, but I don't know remember if it does.
No, actually, in your one encounter in the past, okay, again, for the viewers, this is all in a world that every single one of my players have spent an entire campaign in before we did the recorded series. So there is some history to the world that the players are familiar with that might get brought up from time to time. But in this case, when you fought the Lord Captain, the dice rolls were bad that night, and you guys didn't put like a single scratch on him.
Dang, it would have been cool.
But we did steal his hat.
We did steal his hat.
That is true. In any case,
He's got the scar. What else?
he's got the scar. He's got green eyes. He's got a nice sharp nose, and he wears the most like Captain Hook-esque fancy get up, like with a big old bushy coat and the ruffles.
Bougie.
Yes,
He's a bougie boy.
exactly. Just like, I guess to sum it up, paint the picture in your mind that this is Captain Hook minus
But
the
dashing
hook
and younger.
and young.
Yeah, more dashing and less.
Facial
I'll
hair.
kill you, Peter Pan. Just more regal and less hooky.
Yes.
How's his teeth?
So, does he have nasty?
Do you have teeth?
No.
Green, crusty, scurvy teeth.
Piper, moving up
Actually, they are perfect pearly whites.
Their dentures.
Yeah.
Piper found out their dentures. It was an accident. She swears.
I was gonna say actually that you can infer what you would like from that, but I mean, I will say just that noticing that, you might assume that this is not a peasant from a poor nation originally. You know, whatever he is now. He is young and likely had a decent upbringing. So
He craved adventure, and thus the pirate lord was born.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, we're going off topic. So he takes off his hat and bows and says his thing. Piper, I'm assuming Piper would never imagine the Pirate King bowing to her and taking off his hat, because that's, since when does a pirate captain do that to a crew, a member of his crew, right? So
absolutely, yeah. He would never. You actually would not have seen him without his mask, because he would have kept it all on. But now here you are.
So that being the case, so considering that Piper has never seen him without the mask or the hat before, there's a pause after he, makes his introductions, and Piper, I think you'll see the character art on the video background. She's pink, but she's a little red now.
All right.
She's a little flushed, and she's kind of, yeah, it definitely caught me off guard. She kind of brushes the hair out of her face, kind of, but it's lovely seeing you again, Lord Captain. You look well, looking very dashing and fancy as ever.
David's like, what the what?
David's like, I want to kill this dude.
Hey, whoa! Do I need to square up with a pirate right now?
Well, thank you. And he returns his hat, and he says, I understand we had some things to discuss.
Oh, yes. Some very important and I'll say exciting. A lot has been going on the Styx, and I don't know if you've heard much about it, but the Styx is it's not what you remember it being. I don't remember if you ever spent much time there, but it's definitely not the Styx you remember. They're cleaning up the place, and it's a much better place to be in. We're And but I can tell you more about that and how this whole relates to me meeting with you here. But please, show me where you want us to have our meeting. I'll follow you there.
Well, I would say we can head into my cabin if you'd like, or we can keep this meeting on even ground right here on the plank between our ships.
Piper's kind of, she thinks about it for a second, but she's definitely going to indulge. She's never been in the captain's cabin before. And so she's like, she's like,
I want to go to there.
I can only imagine Haven's face being like, "What?"
Oh,
Like, yeah. Like,
I actually, I totally forgot. Did Aurelius actually end up going?
I'm gonna say yes, because if we're gonna offer, I want to discuss offering legitimacy. Because yes, Piper is going to be talking all the trade, and Aurelius is respecting that. He's actually letting her, kind of lead the discussion. But I will be the one to offer the terms of legitimacy.
Okay.
Now you just want to juicy interactions.
This becomes important then, as I have to amend slightly. Can the GM flashback? Well, okay.
And Blades in the Dark flashbacks are a big
favor, baby.
Flashbacks are a big thing in Blades in the Dark. You'll come to find. So
yeah. So the captain he also bows to you, Aurelius, in that same flourish, and he says, "My lord, it is good to hear that that there are some who remain from that house. I was not present, but I am aware of what happened to your house."
Aurelius does a deep bow back, and says, "It's good to." I want to ask this: has Aurelius bumped up with him before?
Yes, actually,
in his travels.
Actually, that's where you know Piper from. You worked on the ship with her. So you've actually been one of his crew members, although not for as long.
Yeah. And he just, as he comes out of the deep bow, he says, "It's good to see you as well."
Yes. Well, I'm glad to see that the terms of our original agreement has been rewarded. So, now that you have seized control of the 6th District, what is the role you would like us to play in this?
Wait, are we gonna go to the cabin or stay on the plank? Because if he does ask that question, Piper's gonna...
Piper's got the hots for the captain. She's trying to get in that cabin.
She's trying.
You were on the same ship with her. This isn't new.
She's always had the hots for the captain.
Are you just dense? You just
He's only just now noticing. He's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's literally crunk.
Yeah.
The whole thing is like, it's all
for all of Aurelius's cunning and planning. He's sitting there as he sees that she's getting more red. And then there's like this moment in his mind where he's like, "Oh,
wait a minute. Did he just think she was red all the time? Like, did he just think that red was her natural coloring when they first met?
He thought it was the sun. He thought it was the sun beating down on that pinkish skin and just making it, However, he actually does kind of start giggling a little to himself as he awkwardly side-eyes Haven.
I hope he is mentally recording this in detail so he can recount it to Elektra later when he gets home that night and be like, "Hey, yo, I got tea."
Okay, so as Piper hears the snickering, she's like, You're gonna embarrass me. And so she goes and she like gets her and she kicks Aurelius in the shin behind her.
Then let's have you head to the you're on your way to the cabin, and let's have you make your first your first action roll. So this will be diplomatic actions taken to establish what your current situation is. So currently the situation is controlled. There's no danger or anything like that. You know things are going your way, but the engagement roll will determine the setup for the or I'm sorry, your action roll will determine the I guess the situation that you'll be in for negotiations. So go ahead and do that. You're welcome to make it a group action. Just remember that every failure adds stress to your character per the rules of Blades in the Dark.
Then I don't want to contribute to the group action then, actually. I'll let Piper handle it.
Okay.
So do I just roll?
Yeah, what
The question is,
go ahead, Aaron.
Piper, do you have stats in consort or sway?
I do. I have 2 in sway and 1 in consort there.
Okay.
I am a slide, so that's kind of my thing. By the way, slide is a term for the class that I am. So if you want to know more about that, you can probably look it up. Also, as we walk into the cabin, Piper is trying with every fiber of her being to restrain herself. She's internally fangirling. She's like,
okay.
I can look at his sock drawer.
So heading into the cabin, go ahead and make the action roll. What skill will you be using?
Wait, so what is the action roll for exactly? What am I trying to use my skills for?
For buttering up the captain. It's to set the situation for your negotiations.
Okay. Remind me what the difference between consort and sway are.
Sway is when you're trying to, so you actually get to decide what the true definition is. You can actually convince me of it, so that's one of the fun things about Blades in the Dark. But generally speaking, when you're swaying, you're trying to persuade them. When you're consorting, you're dealing in like discussions, and you're working with contacts, gathering information, things of that nature. But honestly, you can argue your point. As the GM, I cannot tell you which one to use. You can convince me of whatever you think is best.
Okay. No, with Piper knowing the captain, what does she think will be the most successful way to talk to the captain? Is he like what's his style? Is he more straight to the point? Is he, a little bit more like some pleasantries here and there, but some good conversation? Pleasantries, so a little bit of fluff, a little bit of sway.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I think of sway, I think more pleasantries, more charisma, more charming. Whereas consort is a little more logical, straight to the point. So more logic driven in some ways.
The GM bows to your decision.
Nice. So considering I have 2 points in sway, is that 2 dice?
Yes. Yes,
okay,
it is.
2 is it the higher one, or does it?
Yes. So you roll 2, and you will take the highest number. If you roll 2 6s, it's a critical success. I will also go ahead and use a mechanic right here and now. So I will say, for a devil's bargain, if you would like an extra die going into this, a little bit of extra advantage, I will give you that. In exchange, Piper embarrasses herself a little bit in front of the captain.
Oh, no. Oh.
I like that. I like it a lot.
Oh, Piper will die.
So that's a
It's
no,
like,
no to the
yes.
bargain.
No. Oh. Maybe the pirate captain will find it endearing. I don't know. Or maybe he'll just think he's an idiot. Oh.
Oh no.
I was thinking that the embarrassment would come from general like fangirlness, like the blushing, just a bit of swooning, and
Oh, I thought she was gonna like trip or something and look stupid.
oh, definitely that too.
Oh.
Oh no.
but specifically tripping because you were looking back at him while you were walking.
Trying to like make sure her hair is okay, like push up
I like,
corset and trips and eats it.
or I like bump into the wall or something. I'm like looking at
No.
Exactly. So, are you taking the bargain?
Oh, I really want this deal to work out. It's fine. It's fine. The pirate captain probably doesn't care anyway.
Oh no.
Okay.
Don't be so hard on yourself, Piper.
So,
I'll take the bargain.
all right, 3 dice then. That means you've increased your chance of success and critting. Go ahead.
Okay. I have 2 6s and a 2.
Woo! Devil's bargain has turned this into a critical success. Okay.
I'll never show my face again.
Oh no.
So the things we have discussed have occurred. you 100% are like talking to him. You do the hair over the ear thing, and then immediately run into the door frame.
Oh no.
And it leaves just a bit of a red mark over your eyebrow. just as like a thing that you have to deal
permanent
with
little reminder
during the meeting.
Now I'll carry this with me everywhere. A reminder of my embarrassment.
And actually, insult to injury, he does even comment when it happens. He steps through the door frame and he says, "Just over a little."
Oh no.
I noticed. Thanks for the heads up.
He just a little tip of the hat. And he sits down.
Actually,
As he passes, she just
what I do is I go in and then I kind of just like guide her through the door. So I just pat her on the back.
As he goes to guide her, she smacks his hand away. Like, get away from me! I can do it myself.
Okay. Then
patronize me.
as you sit down in the captain's room, it's a very nice cabin. The chairs are high backed and
Velvet
upholstered.
covered.
Exactly. And he has you sit down. As you go to scoot your chair in, you find immediately that it is bolted to the ground. Because
Doesn't slide around.
exactly.
Not a hazard.
So as you sit down, he says, "Okay, so I assume that this means if you are to be conducting trade, that Delera will officially be recognizing the pirate nation as such."
There is potential for that offer, yes. However, we should negotiate. If I offer you legitimacy, I'm going to need some things in return.
Well,
However, I think a drink first might be nice.
not a bad idea. And he whips out some of his own stash and shares. Before he hands it to you, he says, "You're not a drunkard, are you?"
No.
I looked to Aurelius at that point. He's like, as soon as he says no, he's like, what?
Wait, we're all in there?
Yeah. And he
Maybe under her breath as she's drinking, not today, he's not.
actually, as he doles out the drink, you go to reach for yours, and he's like,
Oh.
I know how old you are. and he takes the drinks back.
Do you at least have something else I can drink?
Aurelius taps her on the shoulder and pulls out apple juice. Apple juice.
Oh no! He actually he opens up the drawer, the same drawer he got the booze out of, which actually you can see. You can see the I guess the haze from the cold. He clearly has like some sort of magic ice box in his desk that keeps everything cool. And he does pull out some strawberry milk. He says,
Yes!
straight from Celestine. He puts it on the desk and allows you to take it.
She takes her own flask. You fool! I have 70 alternative accounts.
He actually passes over Haven as well, saying, you look pretty young as well.
I just shrug. I'm like, I could have it. I don't need it.
So, having gotten that out of the way, he says, well, I will tell you right now, I would rather the respect than the money. We make pretty good income off of our own little enterprises here in the seas. And so I will happily accept taxes imposed in either direction, but trade with my nation will be 100% determined by whether or not you legitimize my claims as High Seat of House Aquile. Without that, trade is non-negotiable. But I will say that I know you both personally, and I would really like to make this deal. And so I am happy to make other concessions as well, under consideration of what you had to ask of me.
How would you feel if I asked you to raise taxation on black market ships and black market trade?
The black market doesn't impose any taxes. They only trade. And so that would be difficult. On the other hand, if you are referring to the tax we impose on those who travel through our waters, I am amenable. If you can provide what the black market used to provide, I am amenable to taxing. Wink, wink, for the audience who can't see my face. I am not opposed to taxing black market vessels. However, I will say, while I do not have extensive knowledge of your nation's politics, I do understand the seafaring side of it. Most of that comes through Grey Dove shipping. which is, of course, the totally legitimate industry and not the Smugglers Guild that many of my pirates do work for sometimes. And so, to impose that kind of tax would impose it on Grey Dove as well.
That is what I'd be counting on. And yes, I am talking about specifically raising the taxes on ships bearing black market goods.
Good. Then we will take our fair share from them, and do so happily. However, as in accordance with our own legitimacy, I would only take from them the same import tax that would be imposed on your vessels. It'll just be taken by force. Of course, we do charge our regular acquisition fees as well.
At this, Aurelius does kind of laugh, but not in a demeaning way. Just it's
Yes.
clever. Anyway, he's pondering on it. He also says, courtesy of Elektra, I'm supposed to ask. So, if we legitimize you as a nation, right, a nation at sea.
Well, shall we
I would
say,
like.
recognize the legitimacy?
Okay. Yes. Recognize the legitimacy. Would we would be willing to offer citizenship to any pirate crews who would like to join our navy as privateers. Would you allow them to do so?
Offer them citizenship in terms of dual citizenship, so they could retain their citizenship amongst the pirate nation?
Yes.
I would be amenable to that. It would give many of my men safe port, especially since the nation is still under construction in many areas. That would give a lot to my men. I'm for it. In fact, I insist.
However, I would only be willing to consider that if the taxes on the black market vessels were in fact higher than, say, the taxes on all traded goods, especially if I'm going to be providing you with the black market goods anyway.
I'd like to deter the business. They've been.
I tell you what. I simply cannot condone it, as I must speak for my people. However, I perhaps have an idea of how we can meet in the middle. You have offered dual citizenship to create a pseudo-navy out of many of my ships. Something that is at the beck and call of your district, despite being a part of my navy.
Yes, however, the resources and how would I say this? Yes, that is true. They would be your vessels.
I would propose.
However, okay.
That as a part of your navy, they could enforce taxes on the black market themselves under your authority instead of mine. and that would allow me to retain my integrity in regards to taxation and equal opportunity for your nation, while also allowing you to impose heavier taxes on the black market.
I see that.
In fact,
Go ahead.
if they were your navy, you could go beyond just taxation. You could confiscate all their goods. But that, again, would have to be under your authority. I cannot condone it, as we only take what is owed the nation. And actually, I will add, just briefly, there are many pirates who take more than that, but the Lord Captain is quite strict about the punishment that occurs to those captains that condone it and the crew members that sneak it. So piracy still happens, like full-fledged in the pirate nation, but Dorian's code forbids much of it. Just taking a small portion of goods that are transported through his waters.
So, out of character, I would like to hear what the party thinks of this offer.
I think it's dope, personally.
Yeah, I'm very...
A good idea, but it paints a target on your back for sure. So, because they'll find out who is doing it, and then, like, obviously, what's his name? Dorian Black? Or...
Devere Black.
Oh,
Devere Black. So, Devere Black, we'll see it as a threat. So,
to be fair, he already doesn't like him because he impersonated him. So, he's already had...
he doesn't know that.
He doesn't know that, though.
Okay.
The only, like, as far as, like, the day party goes, like, the only transgression that Aurelius has committed towards Devere is basically taking away his goods. So
I should point out that the black market does not have a standing army. Well, they do have a fair amount of muscle. The things you would have to worry about when irritating the black market would be like hiring assassins or instigating in other affairs. So like he might, the way the black market tends to operate, and you definitely know some of this stuff because you employ his brother. And so anyway, you would know that means you'd have to look out for assassins, potentially selling the right goods to the right district to oppose you. But if you are restricting his trade, you could cut off some of that potential as well. So
I have a quick idea kind of tying off of that. So would it be a better idea to just increase the taxation on our part first so that we get the benefits of that, like financially, so that we can possibly have more to back ourselves up with, like more resources, more protection, whatnot. And then maybe when we're a little bit more built up and settled and prepared to deal with the possible consequences of cutting off the black market, then start confiscating?
Okay, so I was actually about to just mention this.
Okay.
That is kind of my plan. I am not saying we're going after the black market. I am simply creating creating a navy, and I am creating the web where if he comes after me, because we've already established it's kind of a matter of time, he's going to connect the dots. And when he does, that is when it's going to kind of go badly. But if we already have his balls in a vice and he comes after us, we can kind of tighten. And so it's a way of
laying the trap.
I will say real quick, just so you know, understand what your resources are. You do have a standing militia as well as quite a large city watch. And you actually know where the black market's main hub is. It's actually widely known. It was going to be difficult to hit that as like the specters, but now that you have an actual army, you could heavily restrict the black market trade by hitting it simultaneously from the sea and at its heart. It probably wouldn't eliminate it because they have so many secret warehouses, but it would cripple the bulk of infrastructure that would make it difficult to trade.
Yeah, then I don't see why not then. Tighten the grip, because then what I'm thinking is if we can find a way to annex some of the metal materials as well, that'll severely help the refinery, and that will contribute to your overall power that you have. So like that's
exactly
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and that's all part of the plan.
Not only that, but the black market is used by lords in all of the districts.
Exactly. This is a whole plan that I've been cooking up. Like, the thing is I know that you guys think we've been leaving the black market alone, but I've been trying to monopolize on everything else so that we could hit them hard when we needed to. It's not about leaving them alone.
We're sapping from them little by little, so that we're taking and we're taking from them and we're growing.
Yeah, it's almost like I also kind of want to approach Black and give him a deal, give him an offer to work with us. Should he not accept it, we will have the resources to really hurt. But that's for later.
Let it be known real quick. I assume that you've at least discussed in part this concept with Bastion Black. And he's like, no, don't deal with him. Don't make a deal. Specifically, he'll say that Dever is extremely crafty and is very likely to double cross you in the most brutal way if you make a deal with him. That said, when it comes to that, he does concede that it would be a game of wits. Right? Like, you know he's going to try and double cross you, but can you close off all escape routes? So he does concede that while he does not recommend it, in theory you could make a deal if you think you're smarter than him.
Outsmart his outsmarting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to bet 10 times to 1 right now that he is, at least from what I've heard, more concerned with finding whoever impersonated him than he is worried about this, whoever just took that throne. But I also would think that he's smart enough to not completely ignore it. So he's going to be keeping an eye.
I mean, if it's a battle of wits, you could just, give him a cup of wine with iocane, right? And they'll just solve our problems.
I mean,
so like,
he might have someone else try it, and then it's all, maybe someone.
It was a movie reference, but anyway.
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm probably used to those kinds of things. So I was gonna say,
I got you.
Yeah, but we now know. So we're all agreed. So Aurelius tells him that this is an acceptable terms. As he also says, I thank you for the drink. Piper here is in charge of trade, and I trust her opinion completely. She will hear you out. And he sticks his hand out and says, do we have an accord?
He reaches back and he shakes your hand. And he actually, when you go to pull back, he says, well, if you don't mind, he picks up a quill and he says, shall we make it binding?
Yeah. Aurelius does pick up the quill.
Okay.
But pauses a moment. He's not signing it yet.
Well, you realize very quickly that he doesn't have a document. This quill is a magic item, and he is offering to make it an actual binding agreement So specifically how this will work is the contract will be written onto your palm. It will disappear. Okay. However, if you violate the agreement, then you receive the black spot.
Eh,
Oh no. Is that the same for him?
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It would go both ways. So if he violates the agreement, he would get the black spot. Now, for those of you who thought immediately to Dead Man's Chest, this isn't exactly like that. It does go both ways. It would have particular terms, and it would its main its main use is so that for people who make this binding agreement, amongst the pirate community, the black spot shows that you cannot be trusted.
It's basically
it's
like
literally a black mark on your record, but it's forcibly on your hands, so that if you make this deal, the pirates can check to see if you keep your deals or not.
Cool.
And I shake with my automaton hand.
oh my gosh.
I mean,
Don't
you
double
could
cross
always,
the pirates, bro.
well, if something does come up, you can always revise it. You know,
Yes.
you can always like alter, and be like, hey, we've
Add an addendum.
this to the test. This isn't working for us so well. So
Yes.
we'll take away some of our benefits. You can take away some of your benefits. We just don't want to. We just want to.
Yeah.
Correct. You can amend the deal as long as both parties who use the magic item are present, or if he's died, then you can.
Void.
Yeah, it is also void.
Cool.
No!
I shake his hand.
Well, as a part of the agreement, then he also proposes a peace pact between the two nations.
If that wasn't on the table already, now I've actually made the deal. I thought that
Yes.
was included the whole time.
I mean,
my bad. Yeah.
I did want to voice it just to make sure. Like it is more or less assumed, but the other thing that he's going to request briefly is a military alliance. If so, the idea being,
If he goes to war, we go to war. If we go to war, he goes to war. Yep.
Which might come in handy.
Which potentially could be like, what I'm saying is it could come in handy. It could come in big time handy to have the pirate nation in force, not just your small military that you'd be recruiting from them or navy, but like the full might of the pirate nation. But if they go to war with another nation, then you're adding a battlefront to your current predicament.
Well,
the big question I'll ask is, why then am I creating a navy? Because if I go to war against the black market, then they're technically at war with the black market.
It's true, but who you'll be recruiting will be on like a are you willing basis. So you might have like a fleet of like 5 boats. Whereas by making the deal, you have access to a lot more. On the other hand, if you were to make the deal and not take the extra boats, then you wouldn't be able to do certain things like impose the double, the tax or even confiscation of black market items. You wouldn't be able to police your own waters. There are benefits to having something that's under your authority.
Okay. Well, unless anyone else has any concerns, I think we're going to make this deal.
And then, as I said before, I know you're not an economist, so we don't have to get into the nitty-gritty of the actual tax percentage. Let's just say that because you're you critted on your engagement roll, or rather on your action roll, I should say, that you got favorable tax deals. This is actually going to largely increase the economy of your export endeavors.
Okay, also
All
really
right.
quick. So as they're leaving the captain's thing and they're going back onto the ship, she still has like the strawberry milk. And she's just like looking at it. She's just he sees me as a child. I gotta go to a party tonight, guys. You won't be seeing me tonight.
I need to feel like a big girl.
Piper, despite having no mechanics actually backfire on her, Piper has accumulated stress. That's it for this episode. I am Brendan, the DM, and host for Toss the Dice here on Expedition Anything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other shows on the channel. Consider joining our Patreon for various perks, or if you're just feeling generous. A big thanks to my players, Alyssa, Aaron, Paul, and Elise. And lastly, thanks to you, the listener, for sticking around until the end of the video. See ya on the next expedition.